Okay, so let's see if I have this right. I had arrived in the Quito airport, and my brain was just overwhelmed. One of the things I forgot to mention in my learning journey was one thing that really helped me immensely when I started really falling in love with Spanish music. Before I get back into my story, was that I fell in love with a bunch of Spanish artists and a special kind of music in particular. I'll get into that in another video because it will derail me from the topic. But I fell in love with Spanish music, and one thing that really helped me was like learning the lyrics to the song. I would look up the lyrics, and then I would write the lyrics out. And like writing, it does something in the mind. It helps you really process things, like you're writing it out, and it helped cement those words into my subconscious mind. And then I would sing the words with the Spanish speaker and imitate their accent, and it really, really helped cement my accent and pronunciation of the words, and really helped with my cadence and rhythm and style of speaking, especialmente reggaeton, because it's like rap basically, and it's like the words are being sung so fast that your tongue is just learning and developing how to move to this rhythm that you don't really know. And it's like something about music, the cadence, the timing, and all that stuff really helps the brain remember better, and it really helps the language, it really helps things click. Like you can just remember a song like, hey, there we go, you know, like Van Morrison or something, or Wagon Wheel, or rock me mama like a wagon. You might never actually have even heard the song, but you've just listened to the song, but you've heard it so many times that you just know it. And like that's the same thing music does with the language. And it's like I would find myself learning phrases through the music, and I would be able to use those phrases when I'm speaking. And again, at this point in my journey, my comprehension is way better than I can actually speak the language. That's still to this day, and I think it'll be that way for a while, that I can understand, even at that point, I could understand so much more than I could actually speak. So even though I couldn't speak, even though I still can't speak the best, what I can understand is like, it still blows my mind that I can understand this language, even though I can't really speak it. But that's just diverting into another point. I digress. Back to the Quito airport. So I was in the Quito airport, and for where I was going, I was actually fasting. I wasn't really eating a whole lot. So when I got there from all the layovers, and I didn't eat at Quincy's house when I had stayed there the night before in Charlotte, and I don't ever buy food in the airport because it just seems like a ripoff to me, because it's just overpriced. I got to the Quito airport, and I was like, all right, let me just get some food. And it was like, I sat down in this restaurant. There's this musical artist. I can't think of his name right now. If I can remember it while I'm editing the video, I'll put it in the link, or I'll put it on the screen right here. But there's this restaurant in the Quito airport, and I ate there. I ordered like this potato soup, and it was just like, and these empanadas, and it's just like, I ordered, I was like so terrified to drink the water. Everything I got had to be in a bottle. So I ordered a club soda in a bottle. I love club soda with a little bit of limon. And it was just interesting. You know, the lady gave me a menu, and she was speaking to me, and I tried to, at this point, my brain is still overwhelmed. I had a layover to catch my next flight to Cuenca, and the flight was like an hour long. And at this point, my brain was still overwhelmed, and I tried to speak to the lady in English, but again, only the main people, like the people that are like booking you, putting you on the plane and things like that, the security or like the information desk, they all speak English. But the people in the restaurants, they don't speak English. So she was like, and it was just like, the thing I love about Ecuador and why I wanted to go there was because they still use the American dollar. So it's just like, I never had to change money. I just brought cash with me. It's really a cash-based society. They accept cards, but cash is still king over there, like really big king over there. And so I was just talking to the lady in Spanish, and I ordered my food in Spanish, and it was just like, it was clicking for me. I was like, oh yeah, I'm in a Spanish-speaking country. Like, it was really becoming apparent. Like, it took me a while to adjust to the fact that I was not in America. Like, I just kept forgetting that I wasn't in my country anymore. So I ordered the food, and then it was just really funny because they know we're American, and then in our culture, we're used to tipping, and it's they don't, tips already included in most of the things over there, if not everything, especially when you're going to a restaurant. But they, you know, they know we don't know that, or they know that we're just used to tipping. So it's just like, it came time to pay my bill, and she was just standing there smiling, you know, looking at the bill. It's just like, you know, I just gave her the little bit of extra. It's like, was my tip. And she was just so happy to receive it. And I'll never forget that. It's just because their economy, that little, it was a $23 check, ended up being like $22. I gave her like $4 and let her keep the change or whatever was on it. I gave her 20%. And then, you know, that's like a lot of money over there. You know, that's like breakfast, lunch, and dinner over there. It's like a menu del dia 3 times a day. If you go into the grocery market, you can buy even way more with that. It's just amazing. It's amazing how far your money goes in Ecuador. But then fast forward to the time it was time to get onto the plane. And yeah, it was, I remember feeling really emotional. And like this part blew my mind about the country. It's like everything was in Spanish again. And I was surprised that a lot of people there spoke English, actually. Like the citizens, the natives of Ecuador, at least in the airport that were traveling, which I can understand why, because, you know. But and another interesting thing was everywhere I went on the radios and things like that, they play American music. And I asked Juan about this when I had returned back to America later on. He said, "Oh, we just love the American rhythm." And he's like, we just love it in Ecuador. But everywhere I went, they played American music. It wasn't Spanish music on the radio, in the airport, nothing. It was always American music. And all the restaurants I ate, everywhere I went in Ecuador, they played American music. This blew my mind. I don't know why. So I got on the plane, and the first thing I noticed was, like, you walk outside, and then you literally walk outside onto, like, the runway. And it's like, you board the plane, at least for me, I boarded the plane from the back of the plane. They have a front boarding, like you can go through the hangar and board. And then if you're seated more towards the rear of the plane, which I was, you board. You board on through the back. Like there's another door on the back, which we don't have here in America. And this just blew my mind because the loading process was so fast. The unloading process was so fast when I actually landed in Cuenca. The flight was beautiful, like flying. If I can find the clip, I have so much footage of Ecuador. If I can find the clip, I'll put it in here also, just to show you what the mountains looked like. And it was my first time flying. It was just my first time. I'll never forget it. And the loading and unloading of the plane was so fast because, you know, you're not waiting for everybody to leave through the front. You know, half of them leads through the back and half leads through the front. And it's just like the plane's empty in minutes. You know, it's so convenient. I don't know why it's not like that here in the States, but this blew my mind how efficient it was. And I think I flew on like Avianca, I think the flight was called. And it was just great to me. And then like everything was in Spanish during my flight. And then I landed in Cuenca, and I was waiting for my driver to pick me up, who took me to the resort thing that I was staying at. And I was just waiting in there, you know, I was just shopping around in the store. But it was amazing experience. Like once I got to Cuenca, like everything was in Spanish, like, and it was just like, okay, my mind had like adapted, like the plane ride and everything being in Spanish, and talking to, actually the lady sitting next to me, she spoke English. And then it was just funny because I said, salimos en la atrás, like in the back, we leave out the back. And she said, yes, we can go out the back, like in perfect English. And it was just really interesting for me. And then, so I was walking through the airport, and it's like I met this girl there who was actually from Colorado, and she was there on she was part of the Peace Corps, and she was just telling me that she had been in Ecuador. And the first thing you do when you join the Peace Corps in Ecuador is like you learn Spanish. So it's like, I was like, oh, can I practice my Spanish with you? She's like, oh yeah, sure. Si quieres, podemos practicar un poquito. And we were just talking in Spanish. She was just asking me like how I've been there, like what I thought of the country so far. And I was just like, I'm a tourist. My mind was blown. And I was also talking, I walked around the airport and I did some shopping, and it's just like, because the airport was just really small. It's like you land and it's just like, you walk through this little door and it's like, you're still in the same place where the plane landed. And it was just really interesting. It's like everywhere I go, you know, I'm checking in with the hotel in Cuenca. I stayed at this place called, I don't even remember the name of the place, but it was in the main city of Cuenca. And the lady, she, ¿Cómo están? You know, how are you guys? I came in with a little group, and it was just like, but first I met the guy who was giving me a ride. I had this guy who was taking me specifically to the place, and his name was Miguel. I'll never forget Miguel. So if I have a picture of him driving me and the other dude that he picked up, I'll put it in here. But it was just interesting. You know, I'm talking in Spanish, and it's like, it's really interesting how when you're in the country, when you're fully immersed in the experience, how your mind switches into total immersion mode. Like, I can understand and speak Spanish way better than I can when I'm in the United States. It's because I have to, you know, it's like my mind is like in this survival mode. And I remember my friend Mario, si está mirando, observando ese video, gracias a ti. He asked me, he said, we were talking in English. He was like, did you find, the way he talks, it's just a little funny. Like, I love the way you talk, the way you phrase things. He said, did you find that while you were there, that you understood the language better? And I was just like, I did. Yeah, it was like, it was way easier to understand while I was there. It's because my brain is just, I don't know. I can't explain it. I don't know why that is, but it's like, I could understand it better and I could speak it better. And this still happens to me when I go to Colombia. It's just like, okay, Spanish is just my language now. And it's amazing. It's like people are saying things I'm picking up. I can understand humor better. And just everything. Like the accents, like they don't really matter so much when I'm in another country. But here it's like there's so many different accents and people speaking so quickly with so many things. So that was the first thing. And then I didn't really notice it in the airport, but I walked out of my hotel and like on the corner, I seen it when we were driving in the taxi too. Like every corner they have like these little fruit stands. You can just buy the freshest fruit. Like you don't have to go to the grocery store. It's just somebody be walking out pushing like a wheelbarrow with fruit in it, you know, like beautiful fresh fruit. Like the grapes are like twice the size they are in Ecuador as they are in here in America. And they're sweeter. They are juicier. And I don't know how to explain this. The food tastes different there. I didn't notice it in the airport, but I noticed it once I started eating while I was there and other things. And another thing that I wanted to notice is like time is different there. You experience time in a different way. I was asking an Ecuadorian that's here in Pennsylvania. His name is Sebastian. He's a good friend of mine now because I've learned the language and I can communicate with him. He speaks no English. And I was asking him, I was like, do you find that time passes here faster in America? He said, yeah, I noticed that. He was like, I was talking to my girlfriend about that. He's talking to me in Spanish too, telling me that he noticed it. He was talking to my girlfriend about that. He's like, time just moves faster here. In Ecuador, the rhythm of life, the pace of life, I've noticed this in Colombia also, that the pace and rhythm of things is slower. Not as slow as in Ecuador. In Ecuador, it's like time really is slowed down. And it's a really interesting thing to experience. And it's like people will come late to things, you know. When I was in the restaurant and the lady saw me and she said, hola, you know, and it's like, but she never came, you know, she never like came to get my order. She never came to get my drink order. She was just back there doing whatever she was doing, making whatever she was making, preparing whatever she was preparing. Like she didn't even care that I was there. It's not that they don't care. It's just that things were just slower. The way that they do things are slower. Like they're not pulling things out of a bag. Like if you order a drink, they prepare the drink. Like it's not coming out of it will still come out of a bottle and things like that, but it's like they have this drink that I tried there for the first time. It's called Guanabana. ever since the first sip, I fell in love with it. I think here in the United States, we call it the soursop, if you ever had it. But we don't really serve something like that here. But it was just everything. Like, and this was the first time I experienced, I was just waiting for my check. You know, I kind of want to leave. It's just like, I didn't realize that you always have to ask for your check, because people like to hang out. Like, you can just stay there for a couple hours and just like hang out on your phone if you want to after you're done eating it. It was just really interesting. You know, I was talking with the lady telling her I love the food and everything. That was really delicious. I can't even remember what I had. I ate so much food, and it's really surprising how accommodating they are for vegetarians in other countries. It's like, it's a little bit of a strange thing to them. Not strange, because I found many vegetarian restaurants in Ecuador. And but it's and everywhere, it's like, it's just amazing how many restaurants there are. And they all have this thing called the menu del dia, where it's like, you know, they just come up with this menu, and it's just like $2 for a big plate of food with a drink and popcorn. And they serve popcorn like before you get your meal in Ecuador. It's really interesting. So I was in complete culture shock. This was my first time leaving the country. My brain is in full Spanish mode. I'm not speaking any English, and it's like, I'm surviving. Like, I wasn't struggling at all, because even though I couldn't speak the best way, and this still happens to me, like, my Spanish speaking is catching up to my comprehension, but it's because I'm practicing it every day now. Like, I have so much access to Spanish speakers and the opportunity to practice at work. I'm recognized as a Spanish speaker here to a degree too. Also, it's really interesting how far I've come. But at this point, I wasn't struggling, because I could understand them, and they knew what I was trying to say, even if I was saying it incorrectly. So it's just like, it was just a really interesting, beautiful experience. I spent about 3 weeks in Ecuador, and it's like, every opportunity I got to talk with someone, like the taxistas, I always talked. Like, I never just sat in the car ride just being quiet, because I just keep exposing myself to the language, keep making myself uncomfortable, because I have to learn this language. I have the desire to learn this language, and I want to understand it like a native. And this was my first experience where I was outside of my country, in another country with another language. And it was like, it changed my perspective completely on like the things that you could learn how to do. Hey, the same guy he's watching, he's like, this guy's in here talking to a camera every day during lunch. But yeah, that's what I do. I'm recording these videos on my lunch break, and people see me, but it's like, yo, bro, I gotta do this. It's just like, I'm just documenting my life from here on out, whether you watch or not. I hope you do. But I've learned to be uncomfortable in this situation where I had traveled to Ecuador and exposed myself to another country. I went all by myself. It changed my perspective on life. It really did. Like, it opened my mind. People say it, they're like, oh yeah, travel changes you. And it really did. It's like, before I had driven all around America, I still had felt like I was the same person. But when I went to Ecuador and I realized that there was a whole nother world out there, a whole nother culture, I always knew it, but actually seeing it, it changed my perspective. It unlocked something. It did something in my mind. And when I had returned to America, we're going to fast forward to that part, yeah, because I don't need to tell you everything I did in Ecuador. I'll do it in another video. But when I had returned to America, my Spanish, my confidence in the Spanish language had 10x'd. I didn't have as much fear of speaking it. I didn't care so much about my mistakes, because I knew that I had spent 3 weeks in this country listening to this language, understanding and being understood. And I had taken my learning to the next level. I had decided to take my learning to the next level, and everything I did at that point had become in Spanish. But I got to get back inside, guys. I want to thank you so much for watching this video. I want to thank you for being here to the end and just sitting with me, allowing me to be in your presence. You know, it's like, I'm imagining you while I'm here talking to you. If you want to learn more about me, you can check out my website. It's pentleyholmes.com. If you want to book me for a show or a house concert, what have you, you want to have a dinner, whatever you feel like, bro, send me a DM on IG or get in contact with me through email. Thank you again for watching. My name is Pentley Holmes. I'm a singer-songwriter in pursuit of a wild dream. Peace.